Hey everybody. Oh man, lights. There we go. Hey everybody. So good day. The scene is animated, um, and it's for the most part done. Uh, it looks freaking cool. One of the new things that I I didn't even realize this was a problem till I let me start this and move it. Um, but like the way every other way I've had of dealing with color before was affected by light. So basically, what would happen is like say I wanted to show a green box, and then I had to make sure to have a green light, but then that green light would impact things else. So kind of this effect where I have like a red and then a white light with a green box, the red doesn't impact that. So I didn't really realize that, but now I can animate it. So it starts off in this situation bright red and ends up um, not red. So that's basically what I've been working on up till this today. Was just trying to get the scene with something in the scene animated. So that all that is all done. It would took a little longer than I was expecting, but that was probably mostly just because of distractions that I just am not putting as much time into this as I used to. So like let's say I reverse this, so let's just see what happens. 0 and then 255. So then I believe, yeah, so we start dark and all that. So that's pretty cool. And then it's kind of weird. I was playing around with like if you then let's say you reverse these two. And I think you just basically go from like this light blue to white, um, which that's kind of cool. But anyways, so pretty excited about this. I think it's a huge movement forward. I believe all that's left to kind of finish the job will be to turn these into sliders. And it's kind of funny because I'm going to definitely use material sliders. And I've always been kind of like, anytime I've been working at a place and they're like, okay, I want you to do a material, blah, 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 blah. And I can never guesstimate how long that's going to take. It could take minutes or it could take days. And I thought that this process would kind of help me be better at that. And it really isn't. I just don't have any idea. A part of me thinks that it's literally going to be a 5 minute job to turn this from a slider, from an input box to a slider with with 0 to 255 being possible and increments of 1. Should be super trivial, but then I could see myself getting caught up in all kinds of weird things that I'm just not even thinking about. So we'll see. I think this is going to be a great experience, and all that. So what did I do? What did I do? Let's see. So I did make some changes in the service. I made some changes in the animated items components. So that's these guys down here, and I made changes in the animation property components. Actually, I don't know which one is which. I always have to look. Um, so let's go to Toolbox, Animated Manager, then that is always very confusing. The way, see how it kind of looks like this is a child of this, but it's not. It's actually, there's a line there that you can't really see. But so yeah, so it's animated items is up top, and then animated properties is the lower one. And I had to make changes in both. So let's look at the animated properties. And let's go over here and look at the animated properties. So basically, I had to pull in the scene interface and basically I had to add a new uh, type, strong typing. So this does nothing. All it does is tell the transpiler that if it's a background, make it a scene interface. And I don't know if you remember, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to remove the special cases like a few days ago for scene because meshes have colors and lights have colors, but cameras don't. But actually, I in my mind I was thinking that I was doing the property, but I'm actually doing the yeah. So instead of doing the color red, I'm doing background. Those are both properties, just at different levels. Um, so background only exists for an interface. So this is basically saying, hey, if you see a background, then treat this item like a scene interface. That's what you do. If you see an X look at, then treat it like a perspective camera or an orthographic interface. And if you see an item, treat it like a mesh interface. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it also is the case for Y look at, and Z look at, but that this handles it completely because I guess once it's been set as a perspective or orthographic camera, it just even if it's just for X look at, it's already set. It's also set for Y look at. It's set for Z look at because they all come as a group. Um, but so that's so really no actual code changes in the animation property. So way down here at the very bottom, at the animation component, we did make a change, and that is that if the type that's being updated, then you update the scene. That's it, though. That's pretty straightforward. I don't think there's anything confusing about that. You're saying, hey, if this thing is a mesh, then update the mesh. If it's a light, then update the light. If it's a perspective or an orthographic, then update the camera. And if it's a scene, update the scene. Now, it would be kind of cool if I could do like kind of create some individual um, function or method that handles all of them, knows how to handle it based on the, like move this type, uh, what would you, case condition into the thing and just say update object or whatever. But I do think that I'm going to move down the direction where scenes will be in their own, all the scene code will be in its own service, all the camera code will be in its own service. And so those two goals sort of conflict with each other. So I think, you know, you gotta, in this case, both are good. So you're not picking your poison. You're more like picking which one you like more. So I think I like the being able to separate lights code into its own section. So whenever I'm dealing with lights code, I'm only thinking about lights code and move mesh code into its own direction and all that. I'd rather have that benefit than have like non not having to deal with this sort of figuring out what kind of item at this level. And then ThreeJS, basically, okay, so I moved scene items. I know I watched another video, a previous video, and I moved scene item, and I was saying I don't need to make scene items into an array, but I moved scene items into an array because I want the code to be very consistent, because at the animation level, I actually am choosing the other thing. I would like to be able to move all my animation code into its own place. So I would like this sort of this scenes for each. If you look at for each one of them, this message for each, this animation or this cameras for each, this lights for each. Like I wanted that to all be the same. So hopefully I can collapse these into a single. When I pull animations out, I can collapse these into a single set of a single for loop that then handles that. What if it's dealing with a different kind of object that handles that differently. So yeah, so let's just move in here. So yeah, when we start, it's all black. When we end, it's all red. Or if I change this scene to how it was, or I guess that's how it was originally. If I change this and this, then when we start, it's like this aqua color, and when we end, it's all white. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's cool, and I think, like I said, the biggest thing I can think of right now is like when I'm doing like what I really would like is like for it to be sort of aqua to start, like in an eclipse thing, for it to be aqua to start and then be like maybe right there to end. So when the eclipse is on full, the scene is like this dark red, but then when the eclipse hasn't started yet, so whenever you haven't even seen any of it, it's all green, because that's kind of how it is. Aqua, that's kind of how it is in real life, and I think that would be a really pimpin' Eclipse video. But that's that. Like I said, next thing is to try to turn these into sliders. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.